Hi, I'm Ash, and this is Chai and Matcha, where we try to have meaningful conversations around personal development, pop culture, mental health, the Desi community, and so much more. If you're into that kind of stuff, or just need someone to accompany you on your commute, or when you're drinking your chai of the day, I hope you'll follow, comment, rate, all of that jazz. I'd highly appreciate it. So, welcome everyone. Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Today I wanted to talk about, I've been really getting into this whole sphere of personal development and self-help and all this stuff, and I've been reading a lot, and I've been watching that kind of content, not in like a toxic frat bro kind of way, but just like me just trying to be a better version of myself. So I feel like after watching all this content and consuming it all, I've come up with two questions that I think are at the core of personal development that I feel like are great journaling questions. Especially as someone who's trying to get into journaling, I feel like I always never know. I never know what to journal, what to write about, what is going to get me to where I want to go. So I've come up with two questions that are fairly simple in their own regard, but I think they're going to get you exactly where you need to go, like completely process who you are, Anyways, because journaling, it doesn't even have to be journaling, it just has to be processing, just answering the questions, even if you do like a video diary, or if you're journaling, or if you just think about it, or something of that sort, as long as you answer these two questions as seriously as you want to. Now, obviously, the more seriously you take the questions, the more insightful the answers are going to be, and that's just a part of, the processing and understanding the questions and stuff. Yeah? Okay, so we're going to get to the two questions. Number one is, what do you want? Now, I feel like Ryan Gosling from The Notebook when I'm saying this, like, what do you want? But that's not what I mean at all. Obviously, like, if you want like French fries, your answer is going to be like, hey, she likes French fries. But what I mean is that feeling back or getting back in touch with your needs and like, what do you want as a person? I feel like that really, really tells you a lot about who you are and what you value and all of these things. Now, if you say, hey, I want a Lamborghini or something, for example, now, obviously, like, the answer is going to be like, well, hey, I guess she likes Lamborghinis or something. But maybe if you do answer that, go a step further and ask yourself why you feel like you need the Lamborghini. Is it because of status? Is it because of the money? Is it because it's aesthetic, or it aligns with your aesthetic and that's a big deal to you? Is that a brand? Is that you as a brand? Is that what you feel like you need to have? Also, is it something that you actually want, or is it something that society has told you that you wanted? All these questions. Like, obviously you can always go a step further with any answer that you have, but I think the more important things that you get to answer or like understand about yourself is like, what kind of relationship, what do you want in your life? Like, whether it be friendships or intimate relationships or family relationships, what kind of life do you want? What kind of job do you want? What are the values that you want to sort of bring about in your life? Like, what values are important to you? What do you want to, emulate in your life? I feel like those are the things that are really important when you're thinking about what do you want, especially when it comes to a dream life, And I feel like the reason why manifesting and all of these stuff, like the spirituality stuff that people are always talk about, manifesting, vision boards, and all these things, I feel like the reason why it works for so many people is because people are finally thinking about what they want and what at a more like a deeper level, and they're thinking about what they want in their dream lives and the values that are important to them and all of these things. And ultimately, you just have to know where you're going, the destination. For example, if you were to have like a trip, right, and you were like, I just want to take a trip, like, you're more likely to actually have a trip when you know exactly where you want to go, the destination, and like, what kind of trip do you want it to be? A relaxing trip? Do you want it to be an adventurous trip? Do you want it to be all these things? Like, once you have a destination in mind, like, you're like, hey, I'm going to be going to Bali, for example. You're like, okay, so now that I know I'm going to Bali, now I know I'm gonna want to do these particular things. I want to relax. I want to do this and that. But if you were just like, oh, I'm going to take a trip, like if you take just a vacation, then you're just like, well, where am I going to go? It's going to be really hard for you. Now you have to research, and now you have to figure out all these things. And like, so that, I feel like that's sort of a analogy to what I think manifesting and all these things are. It's like, you have to know where you want to go, and that way your mind is going to slowly start to figure out the steps in between to get to where exactly your destination, which you had already planned beforehand. Can you tell I'm a Virgo? Yeah, your girl is definitely a type A planner to the max, but yeah, that's just me. Okay, So now is number 2. Actually, no, going back, I feel like a lot of us don't actually know what our needs are and our wants are, and that truly, I think, makes you a happier and a much more fulfilled person. When I was going through the depths and deepest parts of my depression a couple years ago, I had completely fallen out of touch with what I wanted. I was thinking a lot about what other people wanted, what other people were expecting of me, and I had completely ignored myself and what I wanted from life and my needs and all these stuff. I just completely disregarded it. I didn't even think about it because I thought it was useless or not necessary by any means, And so I think getting back in touch with who you are and what you want out of life is just it just makes you a more happier person, I think. And obviously these kind of things seem really pointless when you're going through the depths and deepest parts of your depression or any sort of other mental health, when you feel like you've hit rock bottom, you're like, what's the point of even trying to connect back with what I want? I feel like it just gives you a little bit of hope. And I know it seems pointless, but I want you to just start doing it, because literally it helped me so much in that time to just even hope, even if I felt like it was a parallel universe in which I was like, what would I want in a parallel universe? If I didn't have my depression, if I didn't have my anxiety, if I didn't have any of these mental health issues, what would I want? What would I want for my life? What would I want? So I feel like just getting in touch with your needs and feeling like you love life again is such a big part of getting yourself out of that deep, dark hole, which I know is so all-consuming and it's horrible. I'd love to speak on that in a future episode, because I feel like I've learned so much from having that, and I'm at a place in my life right now, at least, that I haven't had such dark thoughts recently, or I haven't had any of these things, and so and I never thought I'd be able to get out of it. I never even thought that I would get to 23 in my life. I thought that I'd sort of just seen it was like a dark tunnel after 22 or 20. I was just I could never see myself over 23. So the fact that I'm here now is just oh my God, just get back in touch with who you are as a person, get back in touch with what you want and what your needs are. And not in a selfish way, but just you deserve to also think about what you want, and you deserve to have those things. As long as you work hard for them, as long as you work for it, I feel like everyone deserves to have what they want in their life. Yeah? Okay. So now finally going on to the next question, number 2. The question is, what makes you mad? Or I guess in other levels, what makes you unhappy? What makes you tick? All of this stuff. Now, obviously there's different levels to this again. There's some things could make you slightly mad. Some things might make you super duper mad. And there's levels to them. And they tell a lot about who you are as a person, right? It shows you the gap between who you are right now and who you sort of want to be. What is holding you back, essentially? I feel like there's a lot of things that I realized were making me mad. And somebody asked me, I was like, I would get really mad at, for example, little kids that would be extremely ungrateful to their parents, or would just use their parents for, all these things. They would just just use them for their own advantage, and that would make me really mad. And somebody asked me why does that make you so mad? It's not you. You're not in that situation. It's just bothered me to an unhealthy level. And I thought about that. I was like, yeah, why am I the person that's getting mad at another child? Obviously, you kind of should you'd be God damn, that kid is so ungrateful or whatever. But the reason why I was being so mad was I realized that I didn't have that when I was growing up. When I was as a child, I didn't feel like I could express my wants or my needs as a child, especially as an older daughter in a immigrant household. I feel like that's a common trope that I see all the time on TikTok and all this. But yeah, I feel like that made me really mad, and I figured out why. So I think that that's a big thing. It's think about what makes you mad on a day-to-day basis, just simple things too. Why does that make you mad? Why? It can really tell you a lot about what you wanted, and it can definitely connect back to the what do you want question. And I think those are things that we need to work on as people to get to where we need to go. Yeah? Definitely, you can find out a lot about who you are from what makes you mad. Simple things, I hate it when people just like litter. And it's like, I guess cleanliness or like being environmentally aware is a big thing for me. And just like that, I feel like everyone has these little ticks or little things that they are irritated by, mad by. It can be from your family, it can be towards your friends, it can be towards just the world in general. And I feel like they tell you a lot about who you are and who you want to be. It just tells you like what you need to work on, what you constantly are currently, unhappy with, what you are currently working with. And I definitely found out a lot of surprising things about myself through this process. Now, by no means am I saying that I'm perfect and I've figured out everything. I'm still working on a lot of things. God knows I have a lot. Your girl's definitely got trauma, but it's fine. It's fine. We're okay. But yeah, I think those are two things that I think you definitely should work on, especially if you're journaling for the first time or something. These two questions can help you find out a lot about who you are from the get-go, I think. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I hope you learned something because I definitely know that these two questions are the ones that I come back to when I'm journaling and I don't know what to write about. I'm like, you know what? Okay, today we're going to think about something else that I want in life or something else that just makes me mad. And I feel like those two things are very, very critical and they can tell you a lot. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have an amazing day. Please make sure to subscribe, follow, comment, all of that jazz. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Chai and Matcha. Till next time, bye!